Kanpai!
Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of Kanpai Cast. Why did that turn on? It did turn on. Okay, good. We are on episode 29, and we are joined by Pyrah. Hello, Pyrah. Welcome. You are a Warframe artist, yes?
I would say Warframe content creator, not Warframe artist, but yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, I should put up these nameplates so that you know where to go and see Pyrah doing things. Yeah. And she's here with us today for our topic is digital versus hand-drawn. We're going to be talking about, you know, the old school, the new school, all that fun stuff. What makes it good? What makes it bad? But before we get that, we are going to do some housekeeping. Just to remind everyone, we have timestamps and chapters allowing people to navigate to the sections of the show they're interested in watching. I think
we have that demo thing as well.
Yes, I was going to say that. Yeah. We're going to, so probably sometime this week, we're going to work on trying to composite the sound, the audio better. So we're gonna Zeno's gonna record the audio on his end and then send it to me, and I'll fit it into the episode. So it sounds a lot. So it'll hopefully sound a lot better. Maybe look better too if you get your camera.
Yeah. So I'll capture the camera. We'll capture the audio. So the idea is that we're splitting the load of the recording, mostly to try and improve the audio work across the board. Because one of the big things that I find when it comes to listening back to the show or even listening to other podcasts that do a similar setup, when they have the webcam involved as well, the audio occasionally crackles. And I thought it was just my bad internet connection, but I've seen people with far superior internet connections have the exact same problem. So thought about trying a demo of this. So it's gonna be something short. It's something that we would have to commit to. It's a huge undertaking. 2 hours would take 24 hours for me to upload because that's how bad my internet is. But yeah, so it's just we'll see, but we'll do hopefully, a demo and it'll be
hopefully look out for that sometime this week. Probably.
Yes.
Yeah. And you'll let us know what you think about it, and we'll go on from there.
It might actually be last week, because thinking about this doesn't come out until Friday.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, crap.
Anyway. Right. Let's move on to the news.
Yes. So, I know Zeno's really excited for this one. During a preview of an unaired episode... Oops, sorry. My cat is here. I just bumped my microphone, I think. During a preview of an unaired episode of Mushoku Tensei, as a side note, this episode will ship with the 4th Blu-ray disc. They announced the 2nd season has been approved. Further details, like the airing date, have not yet been announced. You can actually, I think, go to the official Mushoku Tensei website, which is mushokutensei.jp, and actually watch the preview for the unaired episode. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think you can. So, this other one I think Xeno will also like. In collaboration with Suzuki Dolls, 3rd generation doll maker Akito Suzuki will design an official line of Hina dolls based on the characters of My Dress Up Darling. Suzuki dolls are the original inspiration for the dolls in the show, and all 300 sets of their Bell's Kiss modern style Hina dolls sold out after the show's 4th episode.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's incredible. It's I'm unlikely to I still think that's incredible. Like how.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Honestly.
The show, yeah, just massively boosts the sales.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's incredible. I love it.
Yeah. So cool. I think that does it for the news. Shall we hop into the topics?
Let's hop into the topics.
Topic, I guess.
How the hell did that show get the wrong name? Yeah, okay, so I'll quickly fix that. But anyway, right, so yeah, so the whole premise of this episode was to talk about, just to discuss the anime art form in its entirety. So we're talking about looking at older generation stuff with stuff that was done on cells where, digital media wasn't available. You couldn't do it on tablets. You had to paint it onto a cell, and then you had to have loads and loads of cells before you could actually get the final animation out and done, compared to moving on to the whole doing it digitally through tablets and computers and stuff like this, and then ultimately including CG stuff as well. So we're gonna look across the board of stuff. Does anyone have a specific show they want to start with, talking about the likes, the feels, the stuff that they didn't particularly like? Why is my webcam broken, Nasuth?
I swear I fixed that earlier. Shall we pause for just a second while I
Yeah.
right.
Pause for just a second.
There we go. All fixed.
Right. Okay. So
like
now with a working webcam. Who wants to start first?
I think we all need to start with the OG, the classic. Alphabetical order. It's Akira.
Good old, beautiful. So, talking about painting on cells, if you're doing 24 frames a second, that's 24 individual cells. And then you extrapolate that into the length of a movie like Akira. How much energy and look at the detail they put into this stuff. How much time and energy does that take?
The grime, the shine and shimmer, everything. Pyrah, you as an artist, and I attempt to be one as well, and just the depth that they have to go into.
With the level of I actually have seen this film, and it's the level of detail that they went into with this is incredible. But unfortunately that's coming to memory is the crap that was dealt with after the fact with the studio, with how the original cells were destroyed.
Were they? I never heard that. Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure they were. It's either Akira or somebody else, where the studio just did not care for the original works that were put into this, and how a lot of it actually ended up getting destroyed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But it's beautifully done.
I don't think it's intentional. I think they just decided to store it in a really bad way, didn't they?
It was either intentional or unintentional. Either way, it resulted in destroyed work that should have been Akira is lauded for its
It's one of those anime touchstones.
It's the fact that it also became popular in the West as well is something that you shouldn't take for granted. This is a very well designed movie, and the
rewatch potential and everything. It's the movie that launched 1,000 tropes.
Well, I mean, there's the iconic bike scene, which has been massively paid homage to across not only Eastern stuff, but Western stuff as well. How many times do people see that, a bike sliding across away from the camera? Everyone sees this. No matter what, Simpsons have done it, Batman's done it. This is the iconic scene here. We've seen loads of things do it. I said Simpsons. Adventure Time. Everything. So
there's
I think
YouTube
even live action stuff has tried to mimic this. I wouldn't be even surprised if one of the I swear one of the Batman films tried to pull off that look too, with the mini bike. So
they did. They used a tumbler bike, but in that one they let the tumbler wheels actually tumble, so it didn't slide.
Oh yeah. But so I did some quick math, and I worked out that Akira has 100,560 frames.
Wow.
60 cells. Yeah. So we're not talking about a small piece of work. I mean, that's if you were to do these all as one frame as well, which I'm pretty sure they're not going to be all so
and
some of the panning shots and stuff,
that go behind all those cells too.
Yeah. So I imagine right now here we will have some parallaxing with all the bits of rubble and crap as Tetsuo Tetsuo is using his psychic powers and stuff, and it's just like they're not gonna have that on just one frame. They're gonna have that on probably 4 frames. So 4 cells. So yeah, that's if it's a minimum of 1 cell per. But oh my god, yeah. So this is glorious. I kind of wish that I think we have a screenshot of it. There's one bit that is absolutely iconic with animators for Akira, which is the bikes are traveling around a corner, and as they travel around the corner, there are these tail streams of light following up. That had to be hand done, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even know how to do that, right? Because like how would you get that sort of like translucent luminescent effect while still maintaining some even color across? I wouldn't know how to fucking do that.
I personally, like, the way how I would do it, it would be like it would be layers of translucent paper. Like you would like you would have the original cell, yes, and you would have like the cell would be the guiding layer for the light, and then like on top of that there'd be another layer just for the lights itself. Right. And then you would just follow the bike along, and you would have the light trails following with that. I think it would be like, it would either be like translucent paper itself and have maybe like almost like a translucent pigment.
Cellophane transparency cells have been a thing since very early Disney.
Oh yeah.
And so that's a known technology, and it is really quite versatile. But you would have to be. I would say that some of those would actually have to be like airbrushed in onto the cellophane.
Yeah.
How did George Lucas do it for lightsabers?
So he did a redactive effect. What he ended up doing was cutting out because the lightsabers have been reworked multiple times.
Right.
Originally, lightsabers were just pure white. Yeah, they didn't have the red and blue lightsabers. And what they did was they'd actually etch out a section of the film, which is where the lightsaber was, and then they would shine the light through in order for the camera to capture it.
Okay. So it would literally be glowing behind. It would be.
Yes, but with Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, they actually used reflective material on what's called sticks. So they actually physically had the sort of like the lightsaber, and the light would just bounce off back into the camera.
I see.
Why, if you watch the very early ones, like Zeno and I probably did because we're old, you can actually see.
He's older than us.
No.
He's so much older than us.
Nasuth's just a spring chicken. No. If you watch the very older ones, the original episode 4 had the lightsabers actually seemed to have a physical blade in a couple of frames, because it's the cuts. They always seem to when they tried to do it, they had to do it physically by cutting it out, and sometimes they'd leave like a sharp point on them or a sharp edge, and so it looked like a blade far more than the current ones do.
Right. I don't know if that sort of technique would work with this. Maybe.
I'm pretty sure.
Not maintaining the matte kind of texture that they have.
Yeah. I think like all the lights and the glows and everything. I mean, like right here we can see the exit sign. That's a painted image.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The door,
yeah.
Tetsuo is separate, but when you had the lights on like Canada's bike and things as he's sliding, like that is painted on, right? They actually painted that on the cell, and it's just like they did such a good job with this. It was phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
So oh man, like
definitely a really good example of the care and effort that goes into something hand drawn.
No matter how many times I watch it, genuinely, I feel that there's always some little subtle nuance behind it that is just so impressive.
Yeah.
Cool.
Everybody's drawn to that. It is just an iconic movie of the times.
Does anyone have anything else they want to add to this that, you know, to highlight about the animation, or do we want to move on to the next thing?
I think we're good with moving on. It's been a while since I've last seen this.
Okay.
So I can't really draw up anything new.
So I have lost my control panel. There it is. Right. Okay. So I'm actually going to jump the shark here. I want to actually bring it forward to Dorohedoro, right? Which was
Dorohedoro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
This is a good one. Gory, but good.
Yeah, so this is 100% CG. I'm pretty sure it's done by Madhouse. I hope we do get a second season of this, because Madhouse are notorious for not doing second seasons. And it's an incredibly well-designed series. Like the sets are just as much iconic characters as the characters themselves.
Oh yeah.
And this kind of shows the direction that anime can go in with CG if given enough time and respect. Right?
Yeah.
Has any, Pyrah, you've seen this. What are your thoughts and feels about it?
I want more for one. Didn't know that Madhouse was only like a one and done sort of deal, so that's kind of unfortunate. But if they do continue, that'd be great. But there is just so much going on in this show that it would probably take a second viewing just to like understand what's going on, because there's a lot of thread points that you don't really see at first until your second viewing, and even like towards the end of your first viewing, you're like, oh, okay. But visually, like it starts off really great in this dirt destroyed city, and then you see why it is that way versus what these supposed wizards with masks have all the color in their world and what they're doing to the people in the destroyed city and whatnot, and why it is the way that it is. So I've been thoroughly enjoying it. I love the characters, love the set designs, and I want more.
So I was actually wrong. It's not Madhouse, it's Mappa. So it's kind of up in the air, like who. It's like whether or not we're going to get a second season to this. I've googled it, and that there's loads of articles across the internet going like, Dorohedoro season 2 release date and all this stuff, and those are the sorts of articles that they're clickbaity, and the second you click on them, they don't know shit. So
yep.
Let's tell you about the first season. So has anyone else seen Dorohedoro?
I haven't, but looking at all these images, I really kind of want to.
Yeah, it is pretty gruesome, just so you know. If you're a bit squeamish, this is probably not the show for you. It gets pretty gory.
Yeah.
The cast here are all right with it, but I absolutely love it. But the thing that nails it in this context is, as you said, that attention. There's so much that they put into each character and into each scene and setting that the actual background detail can rival any high budget movie. Just aside from the fact that everything is kind of so sharp and defined, it almost looks hand drawn. Oh, that's the thing. They've obviously got that whole, for ease of use thing. They've always got that vectored line of kind of effect. But at the same time, you can see how that would be just cleaned up from a hand drawing on digital so quickly, and how they've played. Look at that one with chain link fence. They've played with that to make obviously a very quickly drawn fence look very, very real, because as we all know, that chain link fence doesn't always look the same from one part to another due to flexing, due to any buildup of rust or anything else like that. Somebody has been very, very clever with their digital art for it.
Oh yeah.
One thing I will say that I do feel holds back Dorohedoro is the movement of the characters. So I'm talking about the animations on 2s, where it feels like some of the movement isn't expressive enough, right? So one of the big things with anime or cartoons, what animated stuff, is the expressive nature of the characters. With huge smiles, with what's the term Cuphead has it? Is it rubber? Shit, what's it? Rubber hose legs? Oh, yeah, something like that. Where there's a lot more expression. There's a lot more unrealistic nature to the animation, which Dorohedoro doesn't have. It feels almost on par with someone being in a mocap suit, and with
that's
the
exactly
world,
it. Yeah,
and I
it
get
feels
that.
like they've taken too much realism into their artwork in that respect.
Yeah, I take that as like, as just sort of like, because they spend so much of their budget in a lot of the detail. I think some of the budget for the actual animation was just not there for that. I can draw to like it's not anime per se, it's more like a Western cartoon, is the Dragon Prince on Netflix, where their first season is very choppy animation, and you can very much tell that it's very choppy, but then their next season it's much more fluid. And if Dorohedoro actually gets the second season that it deserves, hopefully that means that it'll have more fluid animation in the future, because they already have all the assets from before, and there wouldn't be much more assets that they would have to create, hopefully, like other than new locations. I would hope that would mean more fluid animation, but like for what I saw, I think it kind of worked with the style that they were going for, because of what it was. It's more of a comical seriousness that they have, so the animation style does kind of work with that. I felt like it kind of plays with the themes that it's currently working with. I felt.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely fits in that context. When I say they're taking it a bit too seriously, when I think about it like that, it could be that that's actually the point. It doesn't have the big, flashy exaggeration of other shows, because it's trying to be a bit more real.
Yeah.
I think, though, that there is a part of expectation, because I remember an interview with Tom Holland playing Spider-Man in, obviously, the most recent trilogy. He always said that whenever he's not in the suit, he's quite, natural in his movements, in his expressiveness, because he has the face to work with, right? He can put emotion and expression in his face. But whenever he has the suit on, he's because he loses a lot of the expression in the face, and I feel that this is something that Notice Me Senpai suffers from. You need to be more expressive in your arm movements, in your whole body language, because you don't have the face to work with. And that is something that, this show suffers from, is because, you don't have that same level of expression in the face, exemplify the emotions, But anyway.
Yeah.
Still a good show. Still a bloody good show. Cool. Who wants to take it where next?
Well, I definitely know where I want to go, but I'd like to see if Pyrah has anything that she wants to bring up first.
I forgot half that list, so you might as well just take it next.
All right. So, mine, a lot of mine were kind of compare and contrast. So we're taking one that's from an old generation, and then one and then the remake of that. So one of those that I can really think of is Evangelion, which is so the old one, obviously because of the time it was done, hand drawn. You got all the grimy details that come with drawing on cells. Story-wise, of course, we've all talked about how Ava's weird. Ava's really weird. Especially this version, because the creator was like in a weird, funky place, and they had budget problems, and but I mean, okay, so you take the look of this, and then we flash forward to, oh gosh, what was it, 2011, something like that, when the first one came out. Where is it? Here it is. And everything looks similar, but also so sharp and clean. Like even the weird, the dirty stuff is clean and sharp in a weird way. And I don't know how I feel about that. I think this is actually the best version of the story to date, because they've done 2-3 different versions.
But something like that.
But I also kind of feel like it's lost a bit of the soul with everything being so sharp, and I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
It's like they've managed to make it grander by being able to clean everything up, but things
are definitely on a much bigger scale. Yeah,
it's a difference between a pencil sketch and the finished line art. With a pencil sketch, you have those slight blurring, you have the ability to fill things in that you didn't mean to fill in, and it adds depth. Whereas the finished line art, you have to do that in sharp lines, and it seems flatter in some way.
Yeah. I mean, look at Shinji here. Like, I don't know, his face just feels bland. His hair feels bland. I don't know.
Well, that was intentional, but
fair enough.
As an art style, you're quite right. Look at the background for that. The blood red sea, the blue sky, and the sunken towers. There's way more detail in that than there would have been in the equivalent painted background, because they wouldn't have been working with the same size of canvas or any, even with the kind of depth that they can get on there. There would be a limit on your brushes and on your ability to make detail. But with digital, you can just zoom in and zoom in and zoom in. And you can add content, or sorry, shall I say zoom out, and just render it at the distance you want it to be. There's no real limit to how small you want to make things, only the limit of pixels.
But where Dorohedoro felt almost like it had been drawn on cells because of how the way they did it. It screams fully digital.
I think it is entirely dependent on the respect for the canvas, right? Where with older traditional media, the canvas was a lot smaller. You had a lot more difficulty putting in that level of detail, which meant that the lines were thicker and stuff could get lost in the final product quite easily. But as screens get larger, as canvases get much larger, you can't pull that off anymore. Again, a Western comparison is Invader Zim. Now, if you look at Invader Zim, that was originally made for CRT TVs back in the early 2000s. Was it before that? It's like ass on a 4K monitor. It looks like out of butt because it just doesn't go on.
Now, there was a whole article on this, but it wasn't for anime. It was for games.
Yeah.
There was this whole discussion about emulated games. You're looking back at Ocarina of Time and things like that, and they look really, really jagged.
Yeah.
And you wonder how you could have ever seen these as these models as something that you could have imagined as a real person. But then you put the same thing onto a CRT, and you realise they were aware of how CRT worked, and they adjusted their rendering so that the CRT would almost fill in the blanks for you and soften things in just the right way. That's the same kind of thing between the physical canvas and the digital. You could expect a physical paper or canvas to absorb your lines, absorb the ink and paper and paint, and react differently to the way a digital one does.
So I want to blow your guys' mind.
Okay.
Okay. So, have you ever heard or seen the series Megalo Box?
No.
I've heard of it. Might have seen it in passing, but not really.
Okay. So it came out in 2018. And if you look at it right now, you will notice this rough line instantly. 2018. This was done all digital technology, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm sure you can't.
tablets, right? Have a guess how they did this, right? Have a guess.
Did they add like a CRT filter?
Nope. It's really simple.
Did they draw it really, really big and then shrink it down small?
Nope.
No?
You're close.
Draw it really small and then blow it up?
Yeah.
Ah.
They actually drew it at 480p and then blew it up to 1080.
Upscaled.
Yeah, and it made it come out like this, right? And it's just like, holy shit, this works, right?
It does. Somehow.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so it's a good series. It's kind of like the anime hero's journey of Rocky Balboa, if you will. It's a weird story. It is worth a look at. But it was just so interesting watching this animation, how they were able to put so much effort and emphasis on the subtle stuff of the animation because the canvas was so much smaller. And it worked. It bloody worked. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm genuinely impressed.
Go on.
Well, the style is similar to like Cannon Busters, which is also on the list. But like in terms of like character design and like I guess relative sketchiness. But like I haven't seen Megalo Box. I've seen it shown on Netflix vaguely, but I've never gone to actually take a look at it. Cannon Busters is cleaner lines, yes. But I feel like in some of the other scenes that are some levels of sketchiness that it does have. Or maybe I'm just misremembering.
No.
Looking at this. But
I can see a little bit of it here, yeah.
I guess it depends on the scene that it is, because more of it is kind of...
But the character designs are really unique. Like even if the lines are sharper and cleaner, I think it still has a way of, it has personality. It stands out.
Oh yeah, like this show is definitely kind of bonkers. The main character is immortal, and every time he dies, a number is placed like tattooed upon his body somewhere.
Oh, when I was getting pictures for this, I didn't get that one, but when I was getting pictures for this, I saw that, and I was like, what's the deal? And now I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like, that's the whole gimmick for the thing. So, like, the character dies in many numerous ways, both hilarious and sad.
Definitely doesn't like it. That's the important thing. He's dying. He's actually dying, and he hates it.
Yeah. To a degree. Like, some of it's just like, did I really just do that? But yeah. It's a good show. I also definitely again for more like I don't know what your audience is like, but like definitely for a more mature audience for sure for this show. But it's good.
Interesting. New friend.
Yeah, that is one of the overriding comedy bits of it. I like it.
Yeah. So you have the main character there who's looking at the other main character. I can't remember their names at all, but the one who's looking at him is a robot, and hence the new friend thing. And so they go around traveling around, and I think they don't really go into detail about the world itself, other than that they're trying to get from point A to B like a road trip, and they come across a whole bunch of different, a whole bunch of different stuff. And the robot lady, who's the main character, A or B, I'm not sure. She doesn't really know precisely what she is, other than that she is a protective robot.
Mm-hmm.
Of some kind, and that she is top of the line as it is, but she doesn't know what precisely that she is, and she's trying to get to another location the main character B, the immortal guy. God, I can't remember names.
You're not alone.
Yeah. It starts off thinking you think it's his story, but it's hers, and he gets dragged into it as the main way that she achieves her adventure. Mm-hmm. And of course he grows with that as well.
Mm-hmm. He's a complete asshole in the beginning, and then he's just like no less of an asshole towards the end.
He has amazing eyebrows too.
Favorite kind of character development starts off at an asshole, up here. Mm-hmm. And she's still an asshole, but more down here.
Oh yeah.
An asshole with a heart of gold.
Definitely.
I wouldn't say heart of gold, but he's definitely better towards the end.
An asshole with a heart of copper.
Close enough. I mean, he has been electrocuted a number of times, I think.
Yes, and he would be seeing the copper wiring out the walls, let's be perfectly honest.
Yeah, there you go.
If it would get him another coin.
Okay, does anyone want to take this in a different direction? Does anyone have... There's something I want to bring up, definitely. Mm-hmm. However, if anyone else wants to go in a different direction, feel free.
I think I know which one you want to bring up. So
go
for
it
it
right now. I want to talk about Devilman Crybaby.
Oh god, that show.
Thank you!
I feel really glad I haven't seen it.
I've seen it. I wanted to like it, and then it got really fucked up.
First page, man.
Is it on the first page?
Yeah. There's a guy who looked like... I got it.
Okay, excellent.
I'm emulating him right now by eating. I hate this show for a number of reasons, but in the tradition of following the theme of the episode, of our episode, talking about the animation.
Yeah.
Dear fucking... My god! What the hell is up with the animation of this show? Right?
It got bonkers.
So this show got a lot of critical acclaim. Like, it's amazing, it's incredible, so on and so forth. Look at this one scene here. We have a gun, right? We have a sniper rifle. It has shading on it. However, the character shooting it does not, right? All of these characters are completely flat, with no proper tones, no proper, body proportions. There's one screenshot, I hope I say this and it will appear, where it's a perspective shot, and the camera angle's looking up at a woman, and the woman's head is larger than the rest of her body, which would indicate her head is freaking massive. Look, we've got amazing backdrops here with incredible lighting, right? Incredible paint jobs. And then we've got the most flattest character in the goddamn universe. no lighting, no surface scattering, no nothing. It looks awful. It looks ass.
For the thing, I can see what they were trying to do with it. It just falls. There's no. They just failed at what they tried to do. It's an attempt. An attempt was made. They're obviously talented artists because they've got the backgrounds for it to prove it. But the animation just let them down.
What do you feel that they were trying to do with this show? Like, so in terms of the animation, do you like? It just felt like they weren't respecting it to me.
No, I think they were trying to show that the characters themselves weren't seeing themselves in the way that the rest of the world is seen. The world outside them is full, vivid detail. The gun, that's really real to the characters, but they themselves, no, it's like in real life, a lot of people glance at each other and barely recognize, more than the general details. They're like, the general shape or color. It's also a hint at how they're going to end up so very one-sided in their views and in their, their actual drives and motives.
Yeah.
But it doesn't play well. The whole thing is that whole grimdark universe. There's no changing the cycle, how it happens. Every time it's going to be, a cycle of growth, pain, death, rebirth, and it just they would have got their message across far more if they'd actually put in the a far more stylized form of shading or a more stylized form of representing their characters.
Or any shading, rather.
Yes.
Look at how flat she looks. There is no shading on her whatsoever. She
looks like a ghost.
It bugs the shit out of me, right? Again, you look at AniTubers. AniTubers were just like, this is the bee's knees. This is the hottest stuff since sliced bread. I can't, the body proportions are constantly changing, right? There's some characters that just don't look alike from scene to scene. Like, seriously, so the main protagonist, because I've been looking...
I agree. There's quite a lot of off-model going on the animation.
Well, so the main protagonist, his chin changes shape, I don't know how many times throughout the entire series. And it's just like, my God, did you really... So, I don't know how...
It makes me wonder what this studio production side, what was going on inside the studio that had influenced the animation to be like that, to go off model so much.
Lots of cocaine.
Well, either that or very poor management in general, or very understaffed is what I'm sensing from this. Because it's just they got the license, oh yay, and then, oh shit, we actually have to make this. So that's kind of what I'm sensing from that, because there was back was it 80s, 90s? I'm not sure. There wasn't an original show for Devilman Crybaby, and vastly different style. But with what's going on in this show, yeah, there's a lot of BS going on in more ways than one. And I honestly have no desire to watch it again because, one, it's a very traumatic show, period. And two, it's just a lot of senselessness in general going on.
Xeno, when we talked before, you mentioned about the original author's own views on it. Do you think that could have influenced how they animated? The fact that the author himself was moving on to something else and something new, and he didn't want to continue. So maybe the animation also is representative in that respect.
I don't know. I've just had a look and the studio that did Devilman Crybaby, they've not done a massive amount of stuff. They've done Keep Your Hands Off Aizuken? Yeah.
Really?
Which, if that's the one I think it is actually, again, really, really well received. Yeah, it is the one I think it is. It's basically where a group of schoolgirls try to make their own. That's the fucking shot I'm talking about. Look at how big her head is. Look at the perspective shot. Her head must be fucking massive, right? It doesn't make. Anyway, sorry. Rant. Again, sorry. Keep Your Hands Off Aizuken is, I think it's like supposed to be a narrative about a few girls who are actually at some sort of like animation club at school, and they try to make like an episode of an anime during the course of a year and things like that. So I've heard really good things about it. I kind of do want to watch it. But apart from that, they don't really have a great deal under their belt. And Devilman Crybaby, related manga, it says like volume 5. I don't know if that's volume 5 or 5 volumes. So the original Devilman manga was written in the 70s, so like 60s, 70s, right? And that era for manga, like the authors were notorious for just giving up on the work and moving on to the next thing. There's Skullman, which was the same sort of era, and the author just like, yeah, I can't be bothered to do this, I'm moving on to the next thing. Actually, I'm not quite sure if it's the same author.
That would be funny if it was.
I don't think it is. But no, I think he moved on to Kamen Rider. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so like again, Skullman, you know, had the same problem, and even like, you know, mangaka from, you know, early 2000s, exactly the same thing. When they don't want to continue doing something, they will just destroy the world, right? They will just fuck it as hard as they can, and if they have to finish it, they will screw it so hard. Or they'll just leave you a little note at the end. So there was a manga that I was really enjoying called Kurohime, which is like Black Princess, and the idea is that she's this witch. She goes around, she's really beautiful, she's super powerful, she challenges the gods. Gods turn around and say, ha, we're better than you. Make her lose her powers, and thus, you know how like magic is, as soon as you lose your powers, you become younger for some reason. So she's a little child.
Okay.
But whenever she does anything for other people, she regains her magic back for a short period. And as the manga goes on, she slowly grows back up, sort of thing. And she's like a young adult by the time the manga ends. But literally, the manga ends on, I can't be bothered to do this anymore. I'm moving on to other projects. Okay, thanks, bye. And I was like, what the hell?
And we can circle back to the case of Bleach as well, where that's one where the author wanted to end it quite a bit earlier, because he was worried about his health, and he'd been in hospital quite a few times over the last arc or two of the story. You know, there's nice little fluff pieces online about how he's come out and said one of his fans wrote to him a very impassioned letter, and so he kept going for them. But at the end of it, when he had to end it, a lot of the fans were not super impressed by how it went. And it's only in subsequent things where there's a few other things that he created for the universe that have kind of filled in some of the things that got left undone. And, you know, there's possibilities for a sequel at some point, but it was really, really quickly ended, and the author really wanted to. So he didn't fuck anything up. He didn't intentionally make anything worse, but he did really rush through how he wanted it to end. And so while everything turned out the way he wanted, it was, tiny portion of what he'd actually wanted to put into the story to make it get there. Still.
Okay, so
And in terms of animation, Bleach, there's something about the stylizing in that's incredible.
So Bleach actually does have a sequel series coming soon, TM.
It's not really a sequel. It's the finishing off of the manga.
That's a continuation, yeah?
Yeah.
To which I ask, do you have any concern? Like, because I believe you're going to watch the sequel, the continuation. Do you have any concerns about the change? Because like 2004, we're talking early days of digital, right?
I'm not actually all that concerned because some of the other things that have come out from Kubo have been done more recently, and while they were short and while they didn't actually come out with a full series, because of course the original content was quite short, they stylistically are very much just improvements and iterations on the kind of work that he already did. So I don't know if anybody's seen it, Burn the Witch.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yes, and that's one of Kubo Tite's works, and it has that same kind of style and essence of what his animation or what his original characters like to be. So I think that if we get a series that comes from the same kind of people, I think that fans will be very happy.
Is anyone else going to follow up Bleach at all, or is it just, I don't know if Pyrah or Nasuth, you actually watch Bleach?
Nope, I haven't seen it.
Like, if anything, I've been trying to like catch up on Naruto, but even then, that was like, yeah,
that's a slog. I mean,
yeah.
People got a Bleach for having filler, but Naruto, you can skip whole seasons.
Oh man, it's brutal. Like, and even One Piece, like, yeah, I got through all the fillers, and I don't know, but like if I want to do that with Bleach, it's just like I might actually have to look up guides if I wanted to actually get into one of the older generation shows that are still running or whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
If you do, get in touch, because I could tell you which sections are important and which ones aren't, because the filler in Bleach is often seems like it's not important, but does come back and has notes further on.
So,
moving on then.
Right. So I'm just going to put a disclaimer here. I have barely watched any One Piece. I watched up until the point where Sanji was introduced. Right.
Okay, that's early on.
It is early on. I think it was like 30 odd episodes in, right?
Yeah.
But like, I could see how it was going. I could see this was like the anime had been airing for like hundreds of episodes by this point, and I was starting to jump jump onto the ship. But then I decided, no, I'm going to jump off the ship. But so this is a series that started with the the cell stuff, and then moved on to digital and things. Even the characters have changed designs dramatically. Like
the year skip or 2 year skip or whatever it was.
I have no idea about any of this stuff. So how, first off, Pyrah, how much of this have you watched?
All the way up to Land of Wano, which is basically the most that I think is the most current season that's airing right now. I took a hiatus, and I think that hiatus started back in last year or the year before, and I jumped back in, and was immediately reminded of why I took a hiatus, because I was already caught up at that point, and I was like, okay, I'm going to let it build up again, because it is a pill to watch this show, because the pacing and the budget, it you could see it in the previous arc with Dressrosa, where it was just, there were some scenes where like you could clearly tell that they were reusing assets from before because their budget was getting slashed again, and they were saving their money for like the big fights towards the end, which were really well done, as they always are. But like, it's very, very painful when you go from a great big finale end and you go into the next season where they're in the next area, and they almost immediately forget that they have all these amazing powers at their disposal, and they don't use them. And it's just, like they could resolve some of these issues so fast if they actually use their ability to go zip 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 and actually rescue the kid. Sorry, I'm very I watched one episode.
Started a little bit at 1.0, but it's I actually lost my touch with it at the start of the Big Mom kind of.
Yeah.
Is that a cat?
Yes, that was a cat, and he wants to
Excellent.
be fed, and it's too soon.
Yes, I was mesmerized by him earlier.
No, this is a different one.
Oh, different one. Oh.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I'm a little behind you in terms of having watched, but I did try to pick up 1.0, and no, again, it is, as you say, it's a bit of a pill to watch. You end up finding that yes, some story is exposed in each episode, and yes, some progress is made, but it drags.
Yeah.
Each episode might as well be 15 minutes.
Oh yeah. Because it's either like half of it's like a good chunk of it's the intro, a good chunk of it's, hey, this is what happened the last time, and then there's like maybe 10 minutes of actual progression, and then the rest of it is like them like talking back and forth, and then like doing nothing, just standing there, and then oh hey, end credits, and then here's what happens next time, which is going to be like 2 minutes of the actual progression that you'll actually get. It's I like, this is the type of thing that I wish that like, I believe the comics or manga, whatever, are still coming out, and I think that's part of why the pacing is the way it is. And I understand that the fans want more and more and more, but at this point, I've been so spoiled by Demon Slayer, by Dorohedoro, by Goblin Slayer, by hell, even Dragon Pilot, as weird as that show was, or Drifting Dragons, or whatever. You can tell my interests. But like, I've been so spoiled by concise story structure where the pacing is actually making sense, the progression is actually making sense. They're going through the cycle of what it is to make a story. But when you get this progression that you have with One Piece, it's just, it has been stuck in the same cycle for over 15 years. And you would think at this point that the fans would be, hey, how about you guys don't crunch for the next episode? How about you guys actually save your time and money and actually wait for shit to actually bubble up so you can actually like have a concise story for once, instead of having characters standing on a platform and on top of a roof shouting at each other and arguing with each other for like 15 minutes. Oh.
So you were saying how they would reuse animation and stuff like this. How often is that apparent? Like, do you often notice that? Hey, yeah, there it goes again.
Yep. No, it was actually pretty bad with some of the crowd. Like, crowds are a pain to draw. Period. If you have to draw more than one person in a screen, I like sympathize with them. It's a pain to draw. But when you see the same crowd squiggle scrawl of people going back and forth in
Hmm.
multiple episodes, you know something's up. It's
So
yeah, it's pretty
okay.
sad.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is the pacing, so the speed at which the manga comes out, dictates the speed at which the anime comes out, or again, I don't know why they don't shrink it down to 10-minute episodes, right? Because
to
that
match up
for-
with
yeah,
with how long a manga episode is.
yeah. I mean that it exists. Which other shows have done it and things, but maybe it's a case of no, we need those sweet advertisement revenues and people watch One Piece. I honestly couldn't tell you. But the one question I have, right, and it's something that honestly vexes me, right, is the outlandish body proportions for the women.
Oh yeah, no,
Oh.
yeah, that's it's
That's-
pretty bad, and this is a product of its time for sure.
But it's fully leaned into, or it is on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
That was a real thing with the time skip. That specifically, that they really
yeah.
he really went into it. Somebody actually commented, and there was some interview where he got asked about the body shapes he does for women and about the body shapes he does for men. Even as you can see with Whitebeard there, the really huge proportions or the really hyper stylized way that he'll depict people.
Yeah.
And it came out that he basically just said, yeah, it's a thing. We just decided to go for it at this point. So
Like
that's-
it's pretty bad for the product of its time, and there's a particular island of people that is, oh boy, very problematic in general, and it's supposed to be Sanji's entire character growth moment, and when he returns to the crew, he's like, oh my god, there's women, finally. Oh my god, that entire... Oh god. You know what I'm
I
talking
think
about, right?
the mildest way you can put it is that Sanji spent a lot of time with people in drag.
Yeah.
Right.
Or people who are actually trans and just couldn't transition.
Yeah, it's the mildest way, because the whole thing is largely played for laughs in that respect. And while there is a lot of while there's a lot of problematic aspects to the way it's presented, as long as you take it as lighthearted, it's not actually insulting to anybody. It's done for those laughs. But Sanji is a character is also problematic because that is a punishment for him.
Yeah.
But I really did like that section of it for the style that those people actually were in, because it really kind of exemplified the whole I can look however the hell I want, and therefore it doesn't matter. I'm going to look like this, and you can't do a thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the style there was, in that respect, was kind of brilliant. I thought it's a lot of freedom of expression, but again, played for laughs. So
Yeah.
a bit up and down. As an artwork, as far as the art style goes, it's the hyper styling of everything.
Yeah.
It's fully intentional, and so you're never going to get away from it.
Well, I mean, again, we were talking about the over exaggeration of animation in terms of body movements. Again, that works with body proportions as well. So as long as it's not done for any malicious intent, that I got zero issue with it. But to me, like, because when I was watching it all those years ago, all the cast, they were these young kids and things, and I think the character's name is it Navi or Nabi or I can't
Nami.
Nami.
Nami. There you go, Nami. Right. You know, she had internal organs,
Mhm.
right? And then all of a sudden, you know, I caught a glimpse of the show later on, sort of thing, and she just had nothing, and I was just like, what the fuck happened? Right?
Like her
Yeah.
jawline even changed too. Like when you do a side-by-side comparison, she looks more grown up in the younger version of her than she does when she is the supposed grown-up version of her, which is like, what happened there?
Yeah, I can get it if the original author's like, I'm fed up of drawing normal body proportions. I want to do stupid wacky stuff.
I'm fed up of getting the critique of how I draw my people, so I'm just going to lean into it as hard as you can. So if I get criticized for drawing women with no organs and huge assets, then
that's one way to describe it.
If I'm going to get criticized for it anyway, I might as well just go to the hilt.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. Because he has said absolutely nothing this entire time and listened, I'm gonna let Nasuth pick the direction now. Where do you want to take us?
Oh gosh, part of me wants to ask Pyrah about one of her picks. Yeah, this one, because it looked really interesting. Is this a Western production?
I think it is, but I'm not entirely sure. The main reason why I actually picked up this show was because an artist that I follow is who does. Oh shoot! I need to pull up their Twitter thing. Monica or. They do a whole bunch of, like, you've probably seen their artwork online where they have Mayan drawings of, like, Godzilla or the Alien Queen, and they got hired on to do the glyph works in some of the behind this like the landscape stuff. There's one particular episode where they worked on, like, one of the. She's gorgeous.
I was gonna say, look at the detail here. So I assume this is all digital.
This is all from their storyline. They're actually pulling like stories from the Olmec and like from all the different like actual stories from that region and actually making it like more widely known to people. Like, yes, this is definitely fantasized, but it's also like bringing it to more modern audiences where like this is why like I've like also followed shoot I'm gonna have to find it.
I thought the way I'd put this one, because I did watch a little bit of Onyx Equinox, it's similar to shows like in theory similar to shows like when they explore the Greek myths and things. They obviously, it's stories we all know and are all told over and over again. So Onyx Equinox is bringing a completely different historical set of legends to the table trying to do the same thing.
Just aesthetically, though, it reminds me a lot of stuff like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah.
And I can definitely see that. It's Monica Robles Corzo on aka Mona Robot on Twitter. Yeah, they do fantastic stuff. This is how I got into the show. Yes, it's a very grim show. Like, if you've watched Goblin Slayer, it is like, you know, the level of like dark it's going to get, and it may be a bit darker in some other respects too. So just keep a level head on you and you'll get through it. It's also pretty gory and graphic. And
it's unadulterated legends, isn't it? It's not the dressed up Disney version of Hercules. This is the actual legends, and in many of those legends, the story was, you don't question these things or you die.
Mm-hmm. The literal plot of this is that the gods want blood, and they will get it in any way that they can. And there is a bet placed on the main character on whether or not he will finish the task ahead of him or not.
Yeah, he's like a chosen, but
kind of like a chosen one in regard, but it's more like a bet is placed on him.
He's more a survivor of a massive tragedy, and as a survivor, they take bets on whether of what he's going to do with his survival, and whether that will actually benefit them at all.
So obviously you've got these clean digital lines, but you've also got like a lot of really good look at the shading on this and the detail on the fringe, and like they clearly put a lot of work into this.
And that's not even her final form, just so you know.
But no, even the scene before this with the guy holding, I assume he cut his hand and was like squeezing blood out of it. The detail in that, like in the way they sculpted his arms and stuff, like, yeah, I'm all for that. I really want to check this one out.
Yeah, I highly recommend it, but like I said before, it gets pretty graphic.
Oh yeah,
so just
you're making me want to watch it more.
So one thing I want to quiz or query or whatever you want to say is this, because I've not seen it, does this have the same energy as anime, right? So
I would definitely say that this one I feel like is on par with both Western animation and Eastern animation. It feels like it is offered on Crunchyroll, so like it's but it's also like heavily influenced from both areas, but I would say more so from the Eastern side in terms of like how things are done. The actual movement of things probably takes on a little bit on from the Western side in terms of like actual movement, like what you've seen with stuff on Netflix or some of their shows a little bit, but
so like Castlevania or something.
Yeah, akin to Castlevania, but this is also probably because I think the production was during COVID, unfortunately. So you'll see some budget being hit by that, of course. But like, so it's just very well done. The pacing is very well done. Set design, characters. I will say the main character is a bit whiny, just so you know. But there's like legitimate reason for that to happen. But then they have their own character growth as well. So it's just like,
awesome,
cool.
But you could contrast that, of course, by leading on to another anime. So did you have one or?
I kind of do, but if you want to take the lead.
Well, it was just it's on the screen at the moment in our background, and I think comparing this to the stylings of Studio Trigger with Kill la Kill and Gurren Lagann as their kind of flagships in this.
Good old Kill la Kill.
It's almost like the diametric opposite in that respect, where rule of cool is the dictating factor in all of their scenes.
Everything's over the top in this.
Everything's over the top. Exactly. You look at shoulder spikes, you look at character designs, you look at movement, you look at everything it is, and it is as anime as it gets.
BNA was theirs as well, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just like, I swear BNA was, but yeah, okay.
Yes, it is. But that's something to move on to in a sense after this, because while Kill la Kill and Gurren Lagann really kind of embody that massive exaggerated movement, you get, what was the movie? Real classic animation style, but horrible movie in terms of moral bankruptcy was Dead Leaves, and it's this same kind of everything moves in the most ridiculous ways. They don't just run somewhere. Their legs wind up, go out of proportion, out of kink, and then force movement into it. They don't jet forward on a rocket. It builds up and shakes and everything moves but it until it catches and goes. They don't just get into a fight. It is a spectacle.
So,
yeah.
I feel that you're hitting really good points with the likes of Kill la Kill and pretty much anything Trigger. The way it portrays events is very they are trying to exemplify everything with the animation. Don't just I think a good example is a comparison between One Punch Man season 1 and season 2, right? Season 1, which was done by Madhouse, they put all the effort into the cinematography, the camera angles, or the camera angles. And again, season 2, they just kind of fall flat on that. Trigger is very much like Madhouse. They put the effort into exemplifying the narrative and the characters through the animation.
Yeah,
right?
every frame seems to matter.
Yes, every frame matters.
But at the same time, why it matters is different to whether the frame is actually good or not. Because you will get some of the most... if you pause Kill la Kill at the wrong moment, things can look bizarre.
Oh yeah, but that's true of a lot of anime.
With their necks snapped to one side. When
the movement was for blurring and whatnot.
Yes, it is, and it's really and even then they intentionally make some of their frames completely blurred out sketch lines to really throw at you the speed of movement and the rush of action. So they actually take the time to make a crap frame, specifically so that your eye catches more movement there than you would normally. From an actual movie cinematography kind of thing, it's the equivalent of cutting frames out from certain movements to make them seem more crisp and more impactful, and or intentionally flaring a lens on just one frame just to make that more of a impact, more of a smash into something. And the fact that they take the time to actually draw that in and really go for it is really impressive. But to go into what Xeno mentioned, the show that's also theirs is BNA, Brand New Animal. And that show is much quieter. It's much more
very different aesthetic.
Steady. It's very different and steady. But at the same time, anytime there's action, anytime there's movement, you can see all of that effort that they put in. So, our main character can transform into some pretty bizarre things. And it's never simple. Those transformations are never just, all right, I'm going to stretch my arm out. No, it's wavy, it's wiggly, it's like completely unnatural, because obviously that's how it would feel.
Yup.
And so it's how it looks. Every bit of movement that this studio does is absolutely done for the effect. It's for the impact that it should have.
One thing I will say, I feel that a lot of this comes down to the different levels of attention when it comes to the between frames. So for anyone that doesn't know, animation has keyframes where you have position A, position B. This might be as simple as a character turning their head, and the between frames are what goes, between those two keyframes. And I feel that Mappa, Madhouse, Trigger, a lot of the Project IG, they all take different attention to the between frames. And it honestly, when it comes to Studio Trigger, it really feels that they treat every between frame as a keyframe. Right? They make sure that the level of detail is there for every between frame. That's honestly what it feels like.
Yeah. And you even get what amuses me so much about the series like these, when you get studios that will put this much feeling into their animation, it really compares on to the quality production that you get in movies. So you end up with that same kind of action, that same kind of styling, out of, again, something that is thematically so very, very different. But
okay, here's a
carries
question.
That over.
Sorry. Here's a question. Do you think they could get that level of detail? You're talking about cinematic level quality for a show without this digital technology? Would it be feasible cost-wise, time-wise, manpower-wise? Or would they not be able to?
I will modify that right now. I don't think that they can get this level of quality of detail into their animation without this level of simplicity in their characters. I think that they have stylized and simplified their characters to the point where their animation can really shine.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Because you compare that to an actual movie that has a similar kind of thing, which is on our list, and it has all of that kind of thing, which is Redline. And yeah, no, you knew, because it's such a thing when you move on to onto the movie styles production. Redline has all of that energy, all of that stylization, but of course the main thing has a much higher budget, and so you get the same things but with much more detail in the keyframes, much more detail in the characters. So hell, this is a movie where you take that same Studio Trigger emphasis. Nothing is animated without it being for how it feels, for how the emphasis on it. So a car that revs up to the point of, hitting its nitrous boost never, ever, ever just accelerates. It always rumbles, it always shakes, and then there's a catch when it finally gets traction, and then it's off. But then to express the speed, they launch, because these races are fully illegal and allow weapons. If they launch missiles, missiles are launched and stay hovering alongside the car for a bit until they can accelerate away, because the cars are going that fast.
Conservation of momentum, yeah.
Yes, and it's the car, even missiles take a while to accelerate up to faster than the cars are going. Every bit of movement. So they'll be in this screen there. They'll be sitting around. They'll be looking at things. But the movement of the characters, when they start gesturing at each other, when they start handing over tickets for the betting, or when they laugh at what the other person said, or even just light a cigarette, that between animation is always absolutely crisp.
In this scene right here, it's so cluttered, and I assume all of them are moving. in the actual
Almost
movie.
all of them, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
honestly,
a big attention to detail.
Well, there's
I'm
some big
honestly
attention to detail.
Sorry, I didn't realize
Thank you,
I had this
Thaylien.
one in here. But I can't remember because like I know the whole thing is hand drawn, the whole damn thing, right? So there's the cars and things. You think, oh, this is an ample opportunity to use CG, right? They don't bother. Right?
Wow.
It's all hand drawn. And at one point in the animation, I was hoping we would actually have the still of it, but it hasn't come up. Basically the main character is going so fast, you sort of see like a fisheye kind of effect on the shot.
Yes.
And they hand drew all of that and everything.
All of the warping, everything.
Yeah, and it does. Honestly, it's an incredibly good-looking movie. I will say, like, you should go check this out because this was a movie that was in production hell for like 10 years because they didn't realize how much of a mammoth task they had took. It's like, oh, it'll take us a couple of years to do this. No, it was in production for like 10 years. I think it was massively over budget. I can't remember if the studio closed down after this, but it was, honestly, it's an incredible movie. You should go check it out. It's pretty much everything that we have recommended. You should go check out if you're listening, audience. Just not Devilman Crybaby, not that.
Yeah, no, skip that one.
If we
That's
tell you to
traumatic
not watch
enough.
If we tell you not to watch it, don't watch it. If we tell you to watch it, go for it. This if we were doing our stamps of approval, this would be a must watch. But we're not right now.
Right.
Also, it does take a couple of watches to figure out what's going on.
So I don't want to be too much long because obviously time and everything. We can talk about this for fucking ever. There is one show I definitely want to talk about.
Is that a dragon car? I'm sorry.
No,
What is going
I
on
don't
here?
think it is. I don't think it is. I think it's just like some kind of weird tricycle thing.
Okay, because you've instantly got my attention.
yeah. But talking about dragons, I want to talk about Dragonheart.
Oh, thank goodness it's not Dragon Maid.
Oh.
All right.
Well.
Shut up, you! You love it. Shut up. Right. So, Dragonheart.
Does he love it, or is it just Stockholm Syndrome?
No, he loves it. He's on the second season already. He's burnt through the whole first season in no time. He fucking loves it, right? So, to be fair, he's enjoying the second season more than the first season.
Yeah.
We're talking about Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Right, but Dragonheart. Clearly the cocaine of anime, right?
Oh yeah.
So a little bit of history. This only got 2 episodes because the studio got shut down immediately because of drugs. Right? That's all I know.
It's a literal cocaine of anime.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Right? But the 2 episodes that are out are gems. They are so bizarre. You'd think from the animation, and the animation style has I've never seen it similar again anywhere else, right? The animation style is hilarious because the main it flips on a dime to being as seriously detailed as something like the 90s Batman the Animated Series to South Park, right? It just, like that, it will just flip the animation style on its head. And it's just I don't think I can think of a single series that has gone that to extremes.
I can, but it was obviously inspired by the absolute cocainium that this was. No, I'm just trying to remember the name of it.
Slayers? No.
No.
No, this is more extreme than Slayers.
It's Panty and Stocking.
Oh
no, I wouldn't say Panty and Stocking was had the serious tones at any point.
No, in terms of animation, it had the serious animation. Okay, because one of the draws of it was occasionally they would just ditch into full on superior animation of Panty and Stocking specifically, to get the clicks, as it were.
Fine. But still, this series is hilarious, and it really utilizes the animation well. When people are doing stupid things, they go full-blown South Park. When they're doing serious plot things, they go full-blown Batman. Like, they really utilize the animation so damn well. I would have loved to have seen where this series could have possibly gone. And like, yeah, there you go.
Here we go.
Super deformed.
Yeah.
It's SD. Super deformed.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's absolutely
It's adorable.
Oh yeah.
That's actually that's really cute.
Yeah, it is so, and like, so this is the series is called Dragon Half, and I can't remember her name.
Series is a strong word, actually.
The OVA.
So basically, the main character who is on the right, the red-haired dragon girl, she's half dragon, and the premise, like, you get to see it like immediately, where the father and mother end up fighting each other, and immediately it goes into this sort of animation, and like, the fact that it introduces this shift in tone so well very early on, you know what to expect, and that's something that some shows don't do well, right? Sometimes the tone of the animation.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I miss that era of where squishy faces and just huge eyes and apparently very tiny ears. Holy shit!
Oh god, yeah. But yeah, like, so the when you're doing a show, like, I really feel it's important to, the animation has to accompany the tone. So if you've got something that's like super seriously drawn, but it's supposed to be a comedy, it doesn't fit. It doesn't, like, could you ever imagine Goblin Slayer with all its detail and its pacing and the colors that they use be a comedy? Never in a million years, right? It would
It
just
has
be
lighthearted moments, but definitely not like a comedy. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it wouldn't fit the animation style. And you know, there are, you know, other shows. Oh god, I did.
But
know
you could loop that back again, because One Punch Man.
Well, One Punch Man. Well, I mean, the
again,
original
you
art
can
style
see
of One Punch Man was definitely not serious.
Yeah, but that's because one is not a very good artist. But still, the style shift is introduced really early on, and it's that same kind of thing. You can see how the characters go from their flat original manga style to the super detailed when it's super serious, and it's a similar shift. And I think that's why people love the first series of One Punch Man so much, because it's that same kind of introduction. You see what the animation lays out the comedy already for you.
Yeah. So I like, even though you can't truly, you know, experience the joy that is Dragon Half, you could at least watch the 2 episodes. You just get the sense of, like, these people knew what the fuck animation truly meant for the art form. But
and they truly knew. Then they snorted a lot of drugs, and then they animated. I mean, come on! They did an entire thing. What was it? They did a whole song to the theme of classical music.
About the "Don't eat the tomato, it's mine."
Yes.
I couldn't remember whether that was this or something else.
It's eggs. Tomato.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, there's talking about eggs, but also I think, like, you can have the octopus. I don't like it. Don't touch the tomato. It's mine. I'm pretty sure those are in there.
Exactly. It's and it's not just an end song. It's the entire song on the end of the episode.
Yeah.
It is 5.5 minutes or so of the song in its totality. There's no cutting for the fact that they actually might run out of credits or anything.
Yeah.
That's the insanity of that show.
Oh boy.
Right. So, I honestly go watch the 2 episodes. They're just dumb and fun. Right. Does anyone have anything else that they want to highlight in terms of animation, hand drawn versus digital? You know, like,
I do.
Go on.
This is actually 3 different ones. Well, same IP, but 3 different incarnations, and that is Berserk. So we have the original, the old hand drawn from '97. Pretty sure this is hand drawn. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and widely regarded as a classic. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'll try to let a few of the things cycle through. So it's the story of our main character Guts. It's actually kind of told in a flashback. So you start in the present, and then it flashes back to how we got there, and it's the Band of the Hawk. So it's the little mercenary group that he's working with, and it's how they rise from just being this little ragtag band to like an actual powerful force in this world. And then the betrayal at the end, of course, which I won't get into. Wow, it's taken a long time to cycle.
One scene.
It's taken a long time to cycle. There we go.
It's 30 seconds, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, you can see the level of animation and quality and detail that they have here.
You have to admit, it's one of the first times you've tried to see an anime artist try to draw a broken nose.
Yeah.
And it works.
What about the eyes?
Oh, well, no, that's just Guts in general. He's a bit battered.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it might just be like, again, like that might be a between frame or something, but his eyes just like, why are his eyes so? Or actually,
I think the one was kind of scrunched.
Yeah.
Again,
it was an expression of
TV. So
yeah. Also, he was looking surprised. It was one of those things. He'd just been told something. If I remember that scene rightly, it's he's being caught out by an unexpected comment from his lady friend. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll also point out, I'm pretty sure the iris of your eye does not change shape. It might be the pupil, but not the iris. Anyway.
Right. So then we had another version in 2012, which is a 3-part OVA covering the same story. And it's clearly digital, but it's also... I think a lot of people have panned it. Like they think, they're like, oh, it's not that great. But I think it looks gorgeous. The story is the same, so it cuts out some of the fluff. I still prefer the original because, nostalgia. But this is not a bad version, right? You could watch this, you could show it to a friend. They get the story. It looks good enough that they're not gonna throw up or anything. But then we come to the really, oh gosh, look at that. But then we come to the really, really bad version, which was in a series set after the events of the original. In this fallen world full of demons, and it's CGI.
The actual manga goes on to explain to go into the rest of the world.
Yes.
After it does the flashback.
Yes. And it's CGI, but it's really, really bad CGI. Like, it's jerky and looks just awful, and oh my gosh, I don't know how.
I think I remember a clip of this where like he's literally walking towards the camera to like go off screen or whatever, and his mouth is like
basically.
And literally his body motion is just up and down, up and down, just to like convey like.
Anybody that ever called out the first series of Dragon Prince for their animation needs to watch this and realize it could have been so much worse.
There's a couple of frames that kind of look okay as stills, but when you see them in motion, it's just, ooh, yeah, this one's all right.
Like it's still because it's
There's other shows that there's Rusted Armor,
Oh yeah.
Which that's so bad. And
Yeah.
then there's the infamous X-Arm for how bad the CG is. I've never watched it. It was basically a game studio that thought that they could actually do. Oh, we could do anime. We know what we're doing. And dear fucking god, did they underestimate the task at hand? Like, so with anime, like typically you have at least a few different mouth shapes when it comes to like the framing for communication, talking. Jesus fucking Christ!
Where's his nipples, lady?
Not just that.
Did you steal them?
That's what she's got in the egg thing there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like that shot does not do well still. But anyway, but yeah, so X-Arm, they only have one animation for talking, which is just like meh.
Which is strange, because if it's a game studio, surely they have actual models that they can do that with and change the shape. Hell, even Digital Extremes managed to get their lip flaps right.
It's mostly.
Finally,
they have a new system going on right now, and it's getting there.
The teeth are a bit weird now. But
I think it's mostly because of the number of languages that they have to work with now. So.
Right.
But,
I unless you go.
Yeah, I saw what you were doing there.
Can we move on to something else? Like I'm happy.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any more?
I think we've covered almost all of the major things. We could rehash some comparisons with like the old original Ghost in the Shell movie versus the series.
Actually, one last thing. One last thing I really, really want to highlight, which actually comes to holding positions, and the show that realistically does this the best is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, right? So holding shots, holding frames, holding so a lot of anime these days has this tendency to hold the shot for as long as they can, to lengthen the duration of the episode to as long as they can, because they're tight deadlines and things. JoJo has a lot of detail in its shots, like crazy amounts of detail, but they are able to produce a whole new series pretty much every 2 years, right? I think there's been the longest gap between JoJo Part 5 and Part 6, which is Golden Wind and Stone Ocean, respectively. But I'll also happily point COVID towards that.
Yep.
But one thing that JoJo does fantastically is holding the shot, where characters have internal monologues, they're not moving, and it doesn't ever feel like, Jesus Christ, can you fucking do something, right?
Yep.
Well, because usually they're in like a bizarre pose or something.
Well, unlike One Piece, where the pacing is shot to shit.
Say that again, Nasuth?
Usually they're in like some bizarre pose, so your eye has so much detail to focus on while they're still and talking.
It's funny about those poses too, because usually those poses are on men that are in the show, but they're actually drawn from references of female models, which is like, I feel so blessed by. Thank you for this. Thank you for this, for showcasing how stupid it is for women.
Oh yeah, I mean, compare that. The only kind of production value in that sense I can compare it to is the absolute man-loving fest that is the Metal Gear series. Honestly, the amount of time they put into all of the men in those series compared to the token women's representation, that's the only thing that's comparable in terms of complete usage of female tropes onto men.
Yeah.
So one thing that I think, I want to compare this to the Realist hero who rebuilt the kingdom. I think that's what this one's called. It should change. There we go. How? There we go. That's why I couldn't bloody find it. How a realist hero rebuilt the kingdom. So there are so many shots held in this show, right? And it just feels like the whole thing is dragging on. And it is because it is. The shots aren't dynamic. They're not played with. The detail of the environment is as bland as the detail.
Yeah, it's very simple. Look at that. Yeesh.
It is. Well, I mean, this is one of the more vibrant ones because look at her dress.
Yeah.
Right? But
Yeah.
like some of the other characters, like their clothes, are like, but it's just like they just hold the shot for too long in this show. And the reason why JoJo, I feel, gets away with it, if again I can find it, is because it plays with not only the level of detail that it puts into its foreground and background, but also the level of detail. Sorry, it mutates the foreground and background, like the number of times that they put like a color pass on the actual characters. Like, you know, Jolene Cujo's hair is blonde with like, it's either dark blue or black, I'm not entirely sure, but they'll put like a pass over it, so instead of being blonde it's green. And you know, they'll do all sorts of weird one stuff with like the lipstick and so on. And so it's incredible because it distracts the eye, right? You don't realize that you're still on just a held shot.
Like this. Look at this.
Like,
you know,
yes.
Yeah.
Poses, right? You know, these poses are just incredible.
More to that. There's more to it, isn't there, Xeno? It's you feel like these holds actually have a purpose. Because
It's
there's
like they actually
always
have color.
Yeah, because the composition, the color pass you put on, it gives them a purpose for the whole, but also that they do put monologues or internal thoughts or some tension into the scene in the first. Realist hero. It's just the holds are just there to save animation.
Yeah, completely. There are plenty of shows in, like, you know, the last several seasons where, you know, they just hold the shot for as long as they can get away with. But realistically, you can't get away with. Like, I remember watching. I don't like to call out people, but Giguk, the AniTuber, who absolutely freaking loved how a realist hero saved it. I'm sorry, did you watch it? Did you fucking watch it? Like, fucking Christ, nothing fucking happens. These are fucking people. Huh? Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, why'd you pause? Why'd you fucking pause? I don't fucking understand. Yeah. Rage. Anyway, right, so that was the last thing I wanted to talk about when it came to animation. Does anyone want to say anything else before we start wrapping up the show?
Well, I'm just surprised that we actually managed to get more actual rage out of you for that one than we did for Devilman.
Don't
obviously,
watch Devilman.
Obviously, your points on Devilman are so well rehashed now that you could say them in your sleep. But Realist Hero is newer.
I'll just point
still
out.
Got
right,
the, Still got the fire.
Just go back to the Devilman section. Actually, fuck it. I'm just gonna no. Right, I'm just gonna point this out. Right. Okay. So bring it back. Right. Okay. Here comes Devilman Crybaby, and anytime now.
Right now. Right now.
Right now.
Right
now.
Now.
Right now. Cool. Look at how many content warnings there are for this pile of tripe, right? It is insane how many it has. How basically 3 of them are the same one, right? Don't bloody watch this show.
Yep. I regret watching it, and I'm a very casual watcher of things, and I'm like, why are everybody watching this? No, it was
Why
not
are
worth
people
it.
saying it's good? It's not.
Shock value? Maybe?
They shock easy. Go
Yeah.
watch Goblin Slayer.
You'll have a much better time with it.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Hell, even Edith and Deities will do more than that.
Either.
Ugh, look at that background. Oh, dying.
You mean what background?
Yeah. Not even a gradient.
No, it
It's
is
barely a gradient.
Barely a
There's
gradient.
Let's
barely anything there.
Get out of here. Let's quick. I'm
Let's
bored.
go have it.
Let's look at
time for-
the men in Golden Kamui or whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah. Golden Gunway. Yeah,
It's time for Xeno to shine.
Right, okay. So, supporter questions. Oh, dear fuck. What have you done, Thaylien? Right.
Thaylien,
okay.
Thaylien didn't write the question. I don't know who you're talking about.
It literally says, Uncle Thaylien says,
Oh.
right, it's time for the supporter questions, and now Xeno has to read out what I say. Like, for my control, subscribe for more puppetry of a show host. Visit the Discord and see what happens in real time. We read every comment, and Xeno gets a sparkly, rose-tinted background effect if people become his supporters on Patreon. Do I really? Can we make that happen? Wait, do I need to buy a green screen? God damn it. Before I stop, I must make Xeno say Zop Wibble, large Hadron Super Collider via my power. Okay. Uncle Thaylien also says, last week we introduced another person to anime, and this week we debate the differences between hand-drawn and digital-drawn anime. Next week, I think it's time we finally ask the real nitty-gritty question. Is a guyver a sandwich?
No one's gonna get that. No one's gonna get that because they weren't.
I don't get that.
We had a whole conversation about sandwiches. Is a hamburger a sandwich?
No.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
Yep.
It is, but we don't call it that.
No, it's a burger. Right? Regardless, a guyver is not a sandwich. That's a stupid question. You wasted the question. You wasted Pyrah's time, fuck's sake. Right.
Okay, but if you put a guyver between two slices of bread, would it be a sandwich?
It would be a Guyver sandwich.
No,
Yeah.
No.
Depending on the Guyver as well, it could be an idiot sandwich.
Questions an idiot
So
sandwich.
fucking lost.
Just pray you're lost.
Yeah, like I will say that a hamburger is indeed a sandwich.
No, it's not.
Thank you.
It is.
Thank you.
It is.
No,
See,
it's not.
Pyrah knows.
Outvoted.
It has a different name.
Outvoted,
That's all
Xeno.
it is, really.
Fuck off. Thaylien, why must you
Sandwich is
betray
a
your
co-
nation like
sandwich is
this?
a category.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not over here, it's not.
I'm
Right.
sorry, it's factually true, but again, we don't call it that for a good
Yeah.
reason.
Exactly. That's what we call
Because
we call it a
it's not-
hamburger, but it's like categorically it is a sandwich.
It's not descriptive. It's too confusing.
you're
If I
quite
went
right.
to the convenience store and like, why aren't the
Bread,
hamburgers
dressing,
in?
meat,
It's a hamburger sandwich.
lettuce.
Why aren't
bread.
the hamburgers in the chiller section next to the sandwiches?
Because you have to cook the shits first.
Yeah, you have hot sandwiches.
Yeah.
Hot sandwiches are a thing.
Yeah, called paninis
But
or toasties. Right, moving on.
Or Pop Tarts.
On. You stop talking for the love of fucking Christ. Zerugel says, have you considered compiling your favorite supporter questions to a supporter episode of Notice Me Senpai? And before you say no, consider this. The questions have already been asked and you already have answered them. The problem is we don't keep the support questions. Like
yeah, we
clean out the
literally have to go
channel
back
every single
and
time.
watch the episodes.
Yes,
Like-
remember last episode, Zrugel.
It would be
Yeah.
like a
Last
supercut.
episode was the one. I can't. No, it wasn't the last one. It was the one before, where what's it called? We accidentally. Yeah, Nasuth broke. Oh my god, we are still recording. Thank
Yeah, we are still recording.
Yeah, we found that out the hard way with 10 o'clock. What's it called? Yesterday. So anyway, right. So that's it with the supporter questions. We could do something. We could. But yeah. So let's move on to the comments from last week.
I only have one comment from Arteria Faith, and we were talking about Elfenlied last time.
Yeah.
He says, I'm going off the manga material now with Elfenlied. Less gore, more story that way. So apparently the manga is a little different. But Lucy was not the first of her kind. She became the queen thanks to a weird combination of how her powers got activated and enhanced, combined with her natural aptitude for growth. So, mystery solved.
Okay.
Mystery solved.
Just don't read the manga ending. I'm just gonna say that. Like, leave the ending to the anime. It's happier that way. Right. Okay. So that is it for that. We're now gonna move on to the memes. So Nasuth has his pick, and then I have my pick.
Everyone's favorite. How my parents react when I say I'm going out with a friend. You mean you have a friend?
Oh.
Don't lie to me, boy.
Yep.
Japan in the 1940s. I will fight in the war and kill anyone who stands in my way. Japan in 2022. Today I marry my anime waifu.
Oh my god.
Culture.
Yeah. This is clearly the advancement of culture.
This is Rumble Granadol in a meme.
Right. Back in my day, anime wasn't mainstream, and you would get bullied for watching it. Sure, Grandma. Let's get you to bed. As an old weeb, I can confirm.
You can still get bullied for it. So.
Yeah. Depends on. Yeah, I guess it depends on what you're watching.
You can get bullied for having the name Richard. Let's be perfectly fair.
Yeah.
You thought you would find catgirls in Area 51, but it's me, Dio. I imagine he would be in Area 51, actually.
Yeah.
Xeno's dead. I didn't even think this was the best one, but Xeno's just gone.
I wasn't expecting it.
No, you weren't expecting it, but
because it's me, Dio.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Tyrannosaurus Rex. Japanizing beam. This is the result.
Yep. Okay.
They're not wrong, and that's the weird part.
God, what a weird show.
Oh. I'm sorry. Okay. Wait.
You want to go back?
That was my sixth one. Was that your sixth one?
Oh no, we both have the same one?
No!
Look, one of you's going to have to change.
Okay.
Every other isekai in existence. He does exactly what I do. Mushoku Tensei, but better.
Honestly, Mushoku Tensei is fucking phenomenal as an isekai. Like,
I think the fact that we both picked this is proof of that.
Yeah. Well, I've got several others, so it's fine, right?
Yeah.
So, my first one.
Streaming?
What?
Huh?
Where is it streaming?
Animation.
It's on Crunchyroll, I think.
Okay, then I can see it then.
Yay.
So, if you stare at me like that, you'll make me pregnant. I guess anime was right after all.
Oh.
Honestly, I don't get where some of these lines come from, but, you know.
Apparently WandaVision.
Yeah, well, your anime is cool and all, but the main C still can't beat Goku.
Yeah.
Yep.
Goku is king.
Yep. Apart from Saitama. Saitama's good. Right. The scene.
Speaking of which.
The cameraman.
Oh goodness.
My fourth one. There we go. My Dress Up Darling. Oh god, Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, and then we've got what's it called? Thaylien?
Fantasy Knockout?
Reincarnated in another world as a fantasy knockout.
Don't judge
me. Don't judge me.
Oh, yeah. And then number 5. Slime, I got reincarnated as a slime. Is the best isekai. You got Mr. Shoka Tensei and ReZero side by side. It's like, I'm gonna tell him. It's like, don't you dare! Right, and unfortunately, Nasuth and I had the same last move.
Wait, yours isn't even showing up. How weird.
Probably because it's the same one.
Same one.
I guess. Yeah.
Probably because he broke it. Right.
Yeah.
So that is it for the memes. We haven't decided what we're going to do next week. Loz may or may not be back with us. Regardless, I think we'll still have Thaylien on as a guest. And he has no choice in the matter.
Yep. You're stuck here. You're stuck in this hell forever.
Thank you so much,
Fair enough.
Pyrah, for coming on the show.
No problem.
Everyone, don't forget to go check out Pyrah on Twitter and on Twitch. Nasuth, that was a cue for you to hit the nameplates again, but you didn't.
Oh no!
Streaming every Wednesday at 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah. Cool.
Gotta
Right.
specify that.
Yeah. God, I hate time zones. Right.
That's why I stream as early as I do to as late as I do.
Right. Okay. So that's it for this week's episode. Are we ready to sign out? Right.
Indeed.
3, 2, 1.
Kanpai!